How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 87. Rozenstruik vs. Gaziev on March 2nd, 2024. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 11. We start with Abdul Karim Al-Salwati versus Loic Radzhabov. This is Abdul Karim Al-Salwati's debut. I'm picking Abdul Karim Al-Salwati. He's coming off the Contender Series. He beat George Hardwick in a shocking manner. A lot of people didn't expect that. He 30-27 at George Hardwick. He beat him to the punch. He feinted well. He got some good takedowns. He kind of just beat him to the punch every time. And I think he's just going to do the same thing to Loic Radzhabov, if I'm being honest, right? Loic, he won his debut against Esteban Ribovics, but I'm pretty sure that was on short notice, if I remember correctly. And then in his next fight, he got his shit kicked in by Mateusz Rąbecki. And in that Esteban Ribovics fight, Esteban was landing good shots on Loic. All Loic really has is a good right overhand. He mixes in a left hook sometimes. He doesn't really like to throw jabs. He likes to try to chain takedowns together. I don't think he's going to be able to implement that game plan against a guy like Abdul Karim Al-Salwati. I think Abdul's going to feint his ass. He's kind of just point him, because Abdul doesn't really have the similar power to a Mateusz Rąbecki or a pressure style to where he's going to break Loic. But Loic's cardio also is not that great. So I just imagine Abdul is just going to point him to a 30-27. Have somewhat of a good debut. I don't see him getting a significant finish in this fight. I think he'll just kind of point him to a decision. So I think Abdul Karim Al-Salwati will make good on his debut. We move to Ludwig Klein versus AJ Cunningham. This is going to be a short pick. Ludwig Klein is going to murder AJ Cunningham. I don't know whether it's going to be first round KO or first round submission. Ludwig Klein has the ability to push the pace on the feet with his solid combos, mostly kickboxing, Muay Thai combos. He mixes in kicks very well. AJ Cunningham, sorry, I'm kind of sick. AJ Cunningham, while he does have the ability to be a dog, right? This is short notice. I think it's about 5 days short notice. He got pieced up on the Contender Series by Steven Nugent, right? He has the tendency to not put his hands back to his face after throwing combos. He'll leave his chin in the air. He has a terrible reaction time. That was one of the biggest things I saw from him, was his reaction time. It is not good whatsoever. It's very bad. AJ Cunningham also gasses very quick. And his gas tank in a short notice appearance is going to be even worse than it was on the Contender Series, right? It's going to be dog shit. Ludwig Klein is either going to piece him up on the feet or take him down and smash his face in. I don't see any way AJ Cunningham wins this fight. This is easy money. Bet on Ludwig Klein. We move to CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Claudio Ribeiro. I'm picking Christian Leroy Duncan. And mostly it's due to the fact that Claudio Ribeiro he does hit hard, right? I think we all know that. 11 wins, 11 KOs, right? That's kind of the thing about Claudio Ribeiro. Also his brother, they both are knockout machines, right? Claudio Ribeiro I just don't think he's that good, if I'm being honest, right? He's also one of the biggest, fake height guys in the UFC I think I've ever seen. He claims he's 6'1", but Roman Kopylov also says he's 6'1", and Roman Kopylov absolutely fucking trumped this kid in height, right? I think Christian Leroy Duncan is just going to piece this guy up with kicks, dynamic striking. Claudio Ribeiro doesn't really have the grappling presence to do really anything of note to Christian Leroy Duncan. Maybe he can shoot for a couple takedowns. Claudio Ribeiro's cardio also isn't that good. Not saying that Christian Leroy Duncan's is that good, but if anybody has the ability to finish this fight early, I'd rather side with Christian Leroy Duncan, if I'm being honest. I think Christian Leroy Duncan's dynamic style suits him better in a fight like this. Claudio Ribeiro does get wild at times. His defense isn't all that great. He leaves openings for longer, rangier strikers. Even in the one win that he has in his UFC career against Joseph Holmes, he was kind of getting tagged up, and he was getting bullied around in the clinch. I think that personally, Christian Leroy Duncan is just a better fighter. He'll out-physical him. He'll out-technical him. He'll just be the better fighter on the night. I don't know if he'll knock out Claudio Ribeiro. If he does, he'll probably do it in the second round. So that's what I'll pick. First. Christian Leroy Duncan, first round TKO. Lock it in. Not Ariel Helwani. Ayman Zahabi versus Javid Basharat. I'm picking Javid Basharat. I think this is one of the easier picks on this card. here's the thing about Amin Zahabi, right? He is kind of a weird guy when you watch him. He has, like, decent power on the feet. He has, like, 2 first-round KOs within, like, the first minute, right? But when you look at the fact that he's also 36, he's been in the UFC since 2017, and he only has 6 fights in total, and only in 1 year, his debut year, his first ever calendar year, did he fight 2 times. So, from 2018 to now, this will be his 5th fight from 2018 to now. That's terrible. He's wasting time. 2 fights ago, he fought Ricky Turcios, had one of the weirdest performances ever. I'm mostly talking about Ricky Turcios. Then you look at a guy like Javid Basharat, who, besides the Victor Henry fight, which Victor Henry fucking blew his nutsack open, right? Like, he's been murdering guys. He puts a pace on people that breaks them. I think this is an easier fight for a Javid Basharat. Amin Zahabi maybe will have the advantage on the feet, possibly. Javid Basharat, his striking is a little slept on, but it's not. It's like enough to get by, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he has some fundamentals. Him and Farid both have like similar striking styles, but the ground game is where they're going to thrive. He's going to murder Amin Zahabi if it gets to the ground. It's gonna get gross if it does. So I'll go Javid Basharat. I don't think he might be able to submit him. If he does, I think he'll probably do it in the second round. I think second round submission, Javid Basharat, rear naked choke, I think is a good pick. It's either he submits him or he gets a decision. I don't think Javid would knock him out. We move to Vinicius Oliveira versus Bernardo Sapai. This fight is very interesting. These guys also have a little bit of beef for some reason. I don't know what it was. I don't know if someone was talking shit on, X or Instagram or whatever, but at the face-offs, these guys looked like they wanted to fight right there and then. This fight is very interesting to me. And by that I mean, this fight is basically whoever lands the first really clean shot, I feel, has a good chance of winning by knockout. Vinicius Oliveira, all 3 of his losses are by KO. Bernardo Sapai hits very hard as well. But here's the difference between Vinicius and Bernardo. Bernardo is a more patient guy. Vinicius, on the other hand, tends to throw quite a bit. He likes to throw a lot of volume. He throws a lot of good leg kicks, which is something I've seen Bernardo struggle with in some of his tape, is that he gets leg kicked. He doesn't really know how to check leg kicks. He kind of just takes it. Vinicius also has a tendency to overthrow some things. He throws a very lengthy 1-2, and if he doesn't land that right hand, he is severely off balance. If he misses a leg kick, he's severely off balance. He throws a lot of power into everything. Bernardo's more, he's more concise with his shots. He's more patient. He hits very hard. But Vinicius also throws combos in the pocket. We saw that in the Contender Series with the Madrigal dude. He knocked that guy out stiff. And I'm not saying that Bernardo doesn't knock people out stiff, but both of these guys have insane power for bantamweight. I think I'm leaning more towards the Vinicius Oliveira pick, mostly just due to the fact that Bernardo is taking this fight on such short notice, because I literally had to change this slide fucking 50 minutes ago, because I still thought that Giannis Gumuri was still in the fight until I saw the face-offs where this fucking dude was in, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I had to do tape on him, short tape. He also likes to go for takedowns, Bernardo, so that will be in his pocket. I don't know if Vinicius is going to be able to, stump him, right? Stop him. Not stomp. Stop. Jesus. It's late at night, all right? Give me a break. This fight is very interesting, though. It's a very highlighted fight for me, so if you guys want to tune in for some action, look at this fight. And by the way, if I didn't make it clear enough, I'm picking Vinicius Oliveira. I'll pick him by... I don't know if he'll be able to KO Bernardo. That's the big thing with this matchup. I'll pick Vinicius Oliveira by... You know what? I think he might be able to knock him out. First round KO. Fuck it. We move to Eric Anders versus Jamie Pickett, the traditional who's going to keep their job fight. I don't really care about this fight, if I'm being all brutally honest. I'm picking Eric Anders. Jamie Pickett has one of the most, just sickening records in the UFC I think I've seen in a while. The only guy with a more, like, terrible record, I think, has been, like, Daniel Lacerda, who they allowed to lose basically 6 times in a row without winning a single fucking fight and then letting him continue to fight, right? Jamie Pickett, in all honesty, with his frame, he should be very good. I mean, 6'2", 80-inch reach at middleweight, that's like a God-given frame. But he just kind of sucks. Right? He struggles with wrestlers. His cardio is weird. He gets broken pretty easily. Dennis Tululin broke this man with just pressure. You're putting a guy like Eric Anders against him. He's going to fucking maug him. He's going to dog walk Jamie Pickett. He's just going to walk forward. Jamie Pickett might be able to drop Eric Anders, knowing his chin is not that great. Both of these guys, older, have no title aspirations. If I'm being honest, none of these guys are title worthy. This is kind of just like whoever wins stays in the UFC, whoever loses get the fuck out, right? And I think Jamie Pickett will be the one leaving the UFC. I think Eric Anders, he'll be able to get in the pocket easier with Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett doesn't know how to use his reach because he's kind of dumb, right? Eric will get in, get on a single leg, take him down, kind of just like throw pitter-patter, ground and pound, throw body shots well, because Jamie Pickett also does struggle with body shots. It's kind of like a big thing. Like Dennis Tululin, when he broke him, he kind of just was landing a bunch of body shots, and like Jamie was like, oh, and then he died, right? I think Eric Anders is just going to kind of like point him to like a 30-27, right? So Eric Anders, 30-27. Please get Jamie Pickett out of here. Like, I understand he's a cool guy. He's a nice dude probably, but you're not UFC talent worthy, bud. We go to the first fight of the main card, Matthew Christopher Schnell. We'll call him Matt Schnell for the rest of the video. Steve Erceg. I'm going Steve Erceg. Unanimous decision. Maybe he TKOs him in the 3rd round. I don't know. Matt Schnell hasn't fought since 2022 when he got knocked out bad by, what was it? Was it Matthias Nicolau who knocked him out? I think that's what it was. He got knocked out by Matthias Nicolau. And he has one of the worst chins I think I've ever seen a flyweight guy have in my life. He also has some of the worst luck I've ever seen in the UFC. He had like 4 straight canceled bouts, mostly with Alex Perez, who's in the next fight, right? Or is that the fight after? No, that's 2 fights later. Steve Erceg, he's a younger guy. He's a hungry contender. He's made light work of, not light work, but he had a competitive fight with Alessandro Costa. He made easy work of David Dvorak on short notice. Alexander Costa, who was kind of seen as a very hot, touted prospect, who did take the fight. Was it short notice? Might have been, I don't know. But Steve Erceg, he dialed down, he bit on his mouth guard, he kind of dialed in, and he just kind of made good work of him. Matt Schnell thrives on the ground. Steve Erceg has a 78% takedown defense. I think he's just going to piece him up on the feet. Matthew Christopher Schnell has a tendency to freeze up when people are hitting him. He's not going to be able to take down Steve Erceg. He's just kind of get frozen with feints. He's going to get tagged a lot. And, yeah, it's going to be rough for Matthew Christopher Schnell. I think this should be his last fight in the UFC if he does lose, especially if it's by knockout. At this point, he needs to get out of here, man. This is getting sad to a point, seeing Matthew get knocked out so many times at flyweight, right? This is depressing. We move to Umar Nurmagomedov versus Begzat Almakhan, or Almakhan, rather. I'm picking Umar, obviously. This fight is somewhat interesting. By the way, that 17-1 record for Begzat has been reduced to 16-1. One of his fights got deducted because it was modified rules. Yeah, Begzat, he's a good fighter. I'll say this about him. He does have a Kazakhstani good record, right? Where there's a lot of padded fighters on there where it's like, you know, this is like, he has good knockout power. He throws solid kicks, head kicks. He has good entries with like uppercuts and hooks. There's a lot of like knockouts of his where he just like comes in and just absolutely blasts people with like uppercuts. And he has a dangerous right side head kick. He's pretty dangerous. He's got good submissions. He's kind of a slick guy. He's kind of good. You know, for a debuting guy, this guy has a lot of talent. He has a lot of fights outside the UFC, right? So this is gonna be a hard fight for Umar. Most likely not, but, you know, it is what it is. Umar, of course, hasn't fought since the Hayoni Barcelos knockout. He was supposed to fight, of course, Corey Sandhagen, but that fight stopped because Umar apparently got injured. I think Umar's just going to wrestle this kid. The one loss on Beksat Almakhan's record was a submission loss, so I just assume Umar's going to choke this dude out. Being honest, I think he'll get him with an arm triangle. Wait, hold up. Is that Alex Perez? He's actually fighting? Holy shit, I was expecting this one to get canceled. We move to Alex Perez versus Muhammad Mokaev. This fight, I think, is pretty easy to pick. Muhammad Mokaev. Alex Perez has one fight in, like, the last 4 years, I'm pretty sure. Muhammad Mokaev, he's younger, he's hungrier. He also... 5 of Alex Perez's losses are by submission. People get to positions easy on him, and I think Muhammad Mokaev, he'll probably struggle in the first round or two. Maybe not, actually. Maybe he will get a quick submission on Alex Perez. Because just due to time off. I'm picking Muhammad Mokaev first round submission. Fuck it. I think he's going to make light work of Alex Perez. I think this fight's going to be easier than Tim Elliott. I think it's going to be easier than Malcolm Gordon. I think it's going to be easier than Jafel Filo. Mostly just due to the fact that Alex Perez's submission defense sucks dick. He also hasn't fought in a while. The last time he did fight, we didn't see anything good out of him. He got submitted in 1:30 by, I know, Alexander Pantoja. But, still, right? Like, 1:30 is absurd. And I think Muhammad Mokaev just gets to those positions easy, right? Like, Alex Perez, he's got decent striking. He likes to mix in leg kicks a lot. He has a leg kick TKO finish in the UFC. He throws good ones and twos. I just really think the time off is going to kill this fucking guy. And when you pair him against a guy who's bigger than him, who has a better reach than him, who's younger than him significantly, who hasn't wasted a bunch of years of his life sitting on the sidelines getting canceled bouts after canceled bout after canceled bout, you're going to see what happens when you do that enough. And I think that Alex Perez is... I just think this is a bad matchup for him, stylistically speaking. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Alex Perez does what everybody does against Muhammad Mokaev, dominates the first 2 rounds because Muhammad Mokaev just kind of doesn't care until the 3rd round. And maybe he is able to survive and he wins. But I just don't see that happening. I think Muhammad Mokaev will breach into the top 7, maybe top 6. And if all signs are pointing to him getting the next title shot, if he wins this, which he doesn't deserve it, by the way, at all. It should be the Brandon Royval rematch. But his leg, I don't know if he said it was cleared or not. I saw him say something like that. But, like, you said you tore your MCL, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? I think Muhammad Mokaev is going to make easy work of Alex Perez. And I'm not going to be all impressed, if I'm being honest. I'm going to say that first and foremost. I'm not going to be that impressed if he does beat Alex Perez. But it'll seem like a good name under his resume. Let's put it like that. We move to the co-main event of the evening, Vitor Petrino versus Tyson Pedro. I'm picking Vitor Petrino. Listen, I'm going to keep it like a buck with you, right? This fight is mostly just due to the fact that Tyson Pedro freezes up against big guys. We saw this against Modestas Bukauskas. When Tyson Pedro can't get going, he struggles very bad. And I think the grappling element will also play a huge part in this loss. Because Vitor Petrino, he hits very hard. We all know that. He just fucking slept Modestas Bukauskas bad, right? But I also think that the grappling will play a big aspect on this, right? So, I'm sorry, Pedro Files. I'm not picking the boy. I think that this is a bad matchup for him. Listen, he could win, but Vitor Petrino has a chin on him. He's not going to knock out Vitor Petrino. He's going to want to grapple. No, he's not, because then Vitor will just reverse him. I don't really see how Tyson wins this. This is a bad matchup, now that I'm, like, looking at it. What the fuck what were they thinking making this? Also, why is this the co-main event? I get they're trying to push Vitor Petrino, right, because he is kind of like a good star. But, like, this is weird. I think Vitor, he either sleeps him in the first round or he chokes him out in the second. I'm leaning more towards the first. Because Tyson Pedro likes to step in the pocket, and we see what happens when you try and step in the pocket with Vitor. He lands Even if you have him against the fence, he lands. He throws good kicks. Tyson Pedro, he throws good leg kicks, but that's like about it. He throws good 1s and 2s as well. But I think this is just like, it's a bad matchup, man. Fuck, I'm gonna have to see Tyson Pedro get knocked out. This is some bullshit. We have made it to the fucking Christ. The main event, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev. I'm picking Shamil Gaziev. I know this is kind of like a bandwagon pick, but hear me out, right? The only reason I'm picking Shamil Gaziev, and this isn't like the meme with like Francis Ngannou where it's like, I've done kickboxing for 20 years, I shovel sand, right? This is more of like, I've done kickboxing for 20 years and I walk forward a lot. The difference in this fight is going to be size and pressure. Shamil Gaziev has made a living off of pressuring motherfuckers because he's so big, right? Martin Buday was a big guy. Jairzinho is significantly smaller than Martin Buday. I think we saw that in the face-off. Shamil Gaziev is so much bigger. It's almost insane how much bigger he is than Jairzinho. Like, 6'2", 6'4", it shouldn't look that big of a difference. They're wearing the same shoes, so it's not like a shoe thing. I think this is just a bad matchup. Every time that Jairzinho has fought a guy who walks forward, hell, even in Francis Ngannou, when Francis just kind of charged at him, he kind of just, like, crumbled. When Volkov was walking him down, stalking him because he's bigger, he's longer, he got hit, right? The guys that you'll see Rozenstruik have success with are guys that aren't pressuring forward, like an Alistair Overeem or a Chris Daukaus. When guys walk forward and pressure him, like a Curtis Blades or a who did he fight last? Jailton Almeida. Shamil Gaziev also has the takedown presence. He has the ability to choke out Jairzinho. I don't know if he'll TKO him in the first or choke him out. I'm kind of picking between them. I think if Shamil wants to get this done, he'll break him on the feet. He throws good body shots as well. I think a lot of people didn't realize that in the Martin Buday fight. He was throwing fucking heavy shots to his big gummy bear gut. I think maybe he'll go for a takedown early. Maybe he'll choke him out early. I think I'll go first round submission, actually. In my thumbnail, I say pressure kills. That's exactly what's going to happen this fight. I love Biggie Boy. I love him. He's so fucking cool. But, damn, is this like, if he makes it to the later rounds, maybe he'll be able to do well, right? Another guy that walked, Cyril Gane, right? Shamil Gaziev, he will slow down because he is big, he's fat. But, like, don't act like Jairzinho Rozenstruik has, like, insane cardio, right? He's got better cardio than Shamil Gaziev, but he will be sloppy too, right? And don't act like he has a good chin. He doesn't, right? He gets clipped. Shamil Gaziev's undefeated. He should win this, and I think he will. He'll break in the top 15. Now, in a main event sense, this is one of the worst main events I've ever seen in my life, if I'm being honest, right? It's one of the worst. I think Shamil will stalk him with 1s and 2s, throw elbows in the clinch. He'll go for takedowns. He'll probably choke him out with a rear naked choke, knowing Shamil or knowing Jairzinho because he sucks on the ground, right? He's a big fat guy on the ground. He's a fish out of water. Shamil is going to kind of just like thrash him around. I'll go first round rear naked choke for Shamil after he stalks him down on the feet, beats him up, beats up his body. And yeah, I think I'm pretty confident in this pick. It's not my confident pick, but I think I'll finally hit my second main event. I really need to start hitting main events. Can I just say that? This is the perfect video for me. I suck so far on the year. Dude, I am missing so hard on main events. I've only hit one. It was Nazanin Imava versus fucking Roman Dolidze. But that was like one of the most like obvious main events of the year. I picked Sean Strickland. I picked Johnny Walker. I picked fucking Joe Pyfer. I picked Volkanovski. I picked fucking Moreno. I think I'm forgetting an event. Am I? Do I need to hit this? I'm UFC Thoughts. These have been my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 87, Rozenstruik vs. Gaziev on March 2nd, 2024. My confident picks reside with Ludovit Klein, Steve Erceg, and Mohamed Mukayev. My pre-card rating is a 10 out of 10. I don't know how a card can get any better than this. This is the best that the UFC has to offer. This card is so good. I love every fight on here. This is awesome. This is my favorite card of the year so far. I can't wait for UFC 299 next week. I'm just I'm about one more week, guys. One more week. I'm kidding. This card does have a lot of fun fights. Of course, everyone's shitting on the main event. Why make a heavyweight fight a main event when it's not getting past the first round? When you have, Muhammad Mokaev, Alex Perez, or, I don't know. I'll see you guys after the fights. Peace.